there. Well, I promised that I would show you some of my work while I was painting. Welcome back to the studio. And I'm Karen. And this is my studio, K Mackley Art Studio. Um, I'm working today in the studio. Friday will be our first Friday art walk. It's called Home for the Holidays is the title of our holiday season. First Friday art walk. It's a big deal in St. Augustine when we have our art walk because everybody goes to all the art galleries here in St. Augustine and they visit and meet the artist, and it's so much fun. It is so much fun. So today I wanted to talk about, since God created me in Jeremiah 29:11 to be an artist, which I am so thankful for because he put that in my heart to do. But one of the things that I want to talk about today is not just the artwork, but how God gives us the desire to create. And, I didn't really understand that until I started painting, that I realized that God gave us this gift and desire, not necessarily to paint for all people, but the gift and desire to want to create. And as we have been on this series about my time in heaven, I thought that I would talk about what the babies were like and the angels were like. Because that's such a, I get a lot of questions about that. Like, what was it like? What was the babies looking like? And, they were just so beautiful, absolutely beautiful. When I miscarried the babies at that time, they were early. And, on Facebook and social media, you gotta really be careful. But there was a lot of pictures, on social media and so forth, and babies, and um, maybe this has happened to you. That when your baby was maybe born too early, and they don't seem properly formed as to what you have envisioned in your mind, and as a parent, that's not something that your heart is always prepared to see. And in heaven, these babies were perfectly sound and beautiful. They almost had like a glow to them. Not that they were like glowy, but they had a warm glow, like the sun was shining on them. It was just so beautiful. And the angels, it was so funny because I remember now, it's funny now in the sense that when I look back, I go, huh, you know, you think I would be a little intrigued by seeing angels because, in our natural realm, it's not something that we normally see. And instead, it was just beauty. It was just beauty. And I know I had several parents who said to me, "You were so lucky that you got to hold your babies." And, you know, our all of us will have a chance to have that moment, when God calls us home and to see those beautiful little babies that He gifted all of us. And, they were just so happy and content. And as a mom, I know the first thing went through my mind is one, I didn't get to hold them. And when it all happened, and then I was like, what did they look like? And they're perfectly sound. You know, things here on earth can't really hold to what heaven is really like and the beauty. And yeah, they were in their cribs and the angels were with them. Now, someone had asked me about grandparents, and actually, that crossed my mind when I was in heaven because my mom would have been the great baby's grandmother. And I don't know, honestly, at the time that I went, I just saw angels and babies and Jesus. And I don't know if God just narrowed down my time um so that I could focus on what I needed to focus on and not be so focused on everything else. But I didn't get to see my mom there. And honestly, I never asked if my mom had seen the babies yet or not. I'm assuming because I'm sure she knows. Um, but the Lord had made it very clear that I wasn't there to see my mom. And so we kind of left that conversation where it was. So I don't know if that answers any questions. I really didn't go beyond that because right then, he was mainly dealing with me on healing. And one of the things that I've been getting emails and messages from has been this has been so healing for me. And, you know, God doesn't want us broke. He never created us to be broke. And even if you do feel broke and broken or damaged or all those things that the enemy can put in your head, this is why it's so important to get into your Bible and read it every day and see what God says, because what matters isn't what another human being says, it matters what God says. And that prayer time with Him and getting into the Bible and seeing things the way that God sees it. And if you're just not sure how to do that, just say, Lord, I don't know how to see things the way you do. Open my eyes to see things the way you do. And heal my heart and get into the word and see what he says, because he says he's very generous with talking to him and communicating with him. And he's a loving and merciful God. And when I lost the babies, I was so angry at him that I gave up thinking that he was merciful. Not because he lost that right with me. He loved me enough to say that's not true. And he's made it very clear. And I'm getting a lot of messages where we're still, you know, not sure what that meant. Sometimes we get in our lives so wrapped up in our lives that we forget to give God everything, our heartache, our good moments, and our difficult moments. But know this, that from what I saw, and I had talked to other people who have also seen heaven, who also says that's exactly what I saw. And the other thing is, people who refer to it as heaven's nursery has had to been there to know that that's what it's called. And the reason why heaven's nursery is what it's called, because they're waiting for their parents to come. And not that other family doesn't count, but there's just something about mom and dad. And even when your mom and dad go to heaven, you still have this mom and dad. There's nobody that replaces mom and dad. So I hope that um, brings you some things to think about. My babies, one baby had like a reddish hair, reddish color. One, and the other two it was like a blondish brown color hair, and they just were so beautiful. So As we go on this journey, and I open the door of my heart to you, know this, that God is amazing and He would never set out to hurt anybody. And if you are hurting, I just ask that you give it to God. And if you say, here it is, I'm really hurting, heal my heart. He is faithful. He's faithful to forgive, and He's faithful. I mean, He sent His Son to die for you. And I'll have to find the picture. I was sitting at Harry's restaurant in the balcony when after my dad died. And I remember going, "Ooh, how am I going to do this with three kiddos and, you know, the life that you have to live when you're a woman and maintain your composure, even though you know where they are, it still is a emptiness here." And I said, okay, God, I'm really hurt. I'm really broke. I don't know how you're going to fix me, but I have faith in you that you will. And that's when He literally, that was in July. And that August 5th is when I started painting. So when you give it to God and you trust Him with all your heart, He will not let you down. So I will let you go for today, and I hope you have a wonderful day. And I will have you back again with me with paint. Oh, give me some ideas for the names of this painting. It's going to be a sailboat, and I'm putting a sail on it, and it's going to have these beautiful pinks and blues and purple colors. I think because all this talk about babies, you know, I'm 50, so I probably won't be having no more babies. But my collection of artwork in the last couple months has went from blues and greens to all of a sudden pinks and purples and yellows. So I hope you enjoy. Visit my website. It's kmackleyart.com. And you can check it out there and check out my stories. I'm trying to get all my stories to go with all the boats. And love your support. I don't write. I know Gabe asked me if I did books, and I was like, I'm a right brainer. I paint. So my stories come from here. But if there's something you'd like to hear the next time, let me know. Have a great day.